Okay, so hey guys, we're live. We're live. And I have to tell you, if you guys are even this much excited about I am, you are like over the moon. I'm so excited about this. I've been telling everyone. So for those of you who are new here and don't know me, my name is Julie Tipton. I go by Jules though, because it seems like it always gets shortened to Jules. So I just go by Jules. And yeah, I guess technically I am the host of this class, but Julie and I and Bobby have all kind of teamed up on another class that we did, and we absolutely loved it. So we're hoping to do more of these besides this one as well. So for a little housekeeping, just getting started, I want to remind everybody, if you are just jumping in here, make sure that you mute yourself. Just so that we don't have background noise, because there's always gets to be an echo if there's a bunch of us on here and we pick up background noise. So make sure to mute yourself. Make sure to jump in the chat and introduce yourself and let us know where you're from, where you're tuning in from, and who invited you. And also, I mentioned this just a little bit ago, but maybe you weren't here. If you have the option and can, turn your camera on, because we love to see your smiling faces. And I did just tell this, so I'm going to say it again. I know a lot of you are at home because, particularly if you're Central Time, it's late. It's 8:30 at night and you're in your comfies, you're in your sweats, your hair's probably tied on your head, or, looking something really stylish, but don't worry about it. We want to see your face. So join us. Just jump on here, show your face. Make sure you're muted, and then we will see you in the tile screen that we have, and we know you're here. So super excited to have you. Make sure if you have questions as we go along to add them in the chat. We may or may not see them as we go through the chat, but we can kind of go back and look. And I'm going to ask Diane, because I know Diane's here. Diane, I'm going to ask you to just kind of follow along that chat, if you would. And Sarah, maybe you too. Just let us know if you see questions that we don't answer as we go along. So that's kind of the rules of the game here tonight. And just a little bit about me. I have been involved in wellness and nutrition and health and all of that probably since I like to say since I was in the 7th grade. I started out as a competitive athlete, and it's just gone on from there: personal training, holistic health coach, massage therapy, rehab therapy, that kind of thing. So that's a little bit of my story. And I love doTERRA. And I love the oils, but I don't know a lot about the oils of the Bible. I know a lot about essential oils, but I don't know about the history of their use with the Bible. So my friend Julie, who I know many of you know, she's going to tell us all about them, because that is Julie's jam. She can tell us all about that. And her sister Bobby is co-hosting with us. And Bobby is, like our friend Haley said, Bobby has never met a stranger. So we are super happy to have you guys all here and joining us, and cannot wait to jump into this. So Julie and Bobby, take it away.
There, okay, I'm unmuted, so you can hopefully hear me. And then can everybody see the slide, the screen that says Oils of the Bible? Thumbs up. All right, I'm seeing thumbs up, so I'm going to call that good. So we are super excited to be here. Thank you, Jules, for getting us started, helping us with our housekeeping. I just want to ask first, before we get started, if you would in the chat, jot some of the things, your questions. What do you want to know about? Jules really flattered me, but I'm not the expert that everybody thinks I am. I did attend a class in Utah several years ago with Rachel Carter. And so some of these slides are things that she put together, but she is an excellent teacher, and she loves essential oils, and she really put the work together for the research for these. And then some of the slides are Sarah Jansen's. And so I want to give credit where credit is due. These ladies put together some beautiful slides. But we have the opportunity to take kind of a little deeper dive. We're not going to read the slides because I've got some added little extra tidbits to share along the way. So without further ado, here we go. Did the slide change? Good deal. All right. So I've got quite a few notes here, but I think we all realize that plants have been used for thousands of years. Can we all agree on that? And we know that because they've been around since not the first day of creation, but I think it was the third or the fourth day of creation. So when we see oils referenced in the Bible, I want you to be aware that it doesn't mean essential oil like we're used to talking about in current times. They didn't have cold press diffusion. They didn't have the ways that we have today, the technology available. So usually they would burn a resin like frankincense, or they would infuse into olive oil. So when you're reading in the scriptures, you might find scriptures that talk about the different plant life that's been put into that oil so that it's infused with the great chemistry that's in those essential oils. So just want you to be aware of that. And then this is a fantastic verse. It really kind of inspires me because Bobby likes to say often, let food be your medicine. And that is not her original quote. I believe that comes from Hippocrates. And it's really quite phenomenal to me, the reminder of the wonderful creator that we have, because not only did he give us this plant to nourish our bodies for nutrition, but he gave us these plants as beauty for our eyes, but he also gave us these plants to help us to be well physically and emotionally. Now, before we dive any deeper, I do want to have my sister Bobby is going to share just a little bit so that we're all on the same page. There might be people on the call today that have a wealth of knowledge about essential oils and how they work in the body, how they work for their emotions. But I do know we also have some people on the call tonight. Can everybody mute themselves? I do know that we have some people on the call tonight that might be brand new to essential oils. And so we're going to just cover really quickly 3 cool things about oils and 3 ways that you can use them so that we're all on the same page.
Okay. So I am Bobby from Nevada, Missouri, and I just want to tell you really quickly 3 cool things about essential oils. And we are talking specifically doTERRA, which is the brand that we represent and love and share on a daily basis. They are safe, effective, and affordable because when doTERRA harvests the plant and goes to the distillery and extracts the oils from the plant, there's nothing added to it and there's nothing taken away from it. So we know that when we have a doTERRA essential oil in our hand, it's pure and potent. They do more tests than any other oil company in the world. So you know your essential oils are 70 times more powerful than your herbs. So if you go to rely on cinnamon in the cupboard, you're not getting the strength that you would cinnamon in an oil bottle. 1 drop is equivalent to 28 tea bags when we're referring to peppermint. So it's a good one to have around you all the time, but know when you're cooking with them, sometimes even just a toothpick dip in your oil and swirl it around in your recipe is necessary. They're effective because they are oil-based. So if you think of your hand as a cell, your viruses reside around the inside of the cell and your bacteria around the outside. So if you're not feeling good and you break down and go to a medical professional, if it's bacterial, they can give you an antibiotic, which does havoc on your gut, but it can affect the bacteria because it's outside the cell, because your antibiotic is water-based, not oily-based, and it can get to that bacteria. The nice thing about your essential oils is it can address everything, the virus and the bacteria, because it's oily based. So it can get through that, your cell, which is your fist. And these safe, effective, and affordable. Okay, if somebody has an ear issue in the middle of the night and you think, oh my gosh, I really don't want to get out of my pajamas and go to Walmart or CSB or whatever the pharmacies are, because I don't go to them, I don't know their names. Just go get your natural solutions out of your medicine cabinet. A drop of lavender, a drop of melaleuca, around the ears, down the jawline. Apply it 2 or 3 times. Whoever's got the ear issue will wake up just perfectly normal in the morning. Less than 75 cents to take care of that ear issue. They're more affordable than your traditional medical care, pennies per dose, and they save us lots of money throughout the year. So they are safe, effective, and affordable. 3 ways to use them. Aromatically is in a diffuser. Put a drop on your hands, breathe it in your hands, put a drop on a scarf, mist your sheets at night. That's aromatic. Topically is on the body. where you have pain, apply your oil. If you're speaking of liver, kidney, internal organ, go to your reflex points. If you don't have a resource book, Google it. You can find where these things are found on the reflex point on your hands and feet. Massage it into that area, be it the brain, the liver, the kidney, whatever. Find the reflex point, and that is topical. When you're using an essential oil on your body, it soaks through every cell within 30 seconds. When you're breathing them, I did not talk. The reason they work, think back, you guys, if somebody goes in for surgery or goes to the dentist office and they give you nitrous and they say, breathe slowly, 10, 9, 8, 7, on down. It's because you're breathing that in and it goes through the olfactory into the limbic to the brain and talks to the cells. And so it tells your body what to do with that natural solution that you're inhaling. Internally is the best way to use them, and Dr. Hill highly recommends them. Put them under your tongue, put them in a soft gel, put them in your water. Know that doTERRA essential oils will tell you if they're supplemental, you can drink them. If they say essential oil blend, you don't want to drink them, you use them topically. But the one thing I like to teach on a daily basis, if someone has an essential oil from a dime store or a big box store or a lumber yard or even a pharmacy, be sure and see what the bottle says. Because if you pick up a frankincense for $6 and it says do not ingest, I don't want you breathing it either. If you can't drink that frankincense or lemon or peppermint or wild orange, then you shouldn't be breathing it in your lungs. So think twice before you buy those stinky lotions at the big box store, and be sure and check your essential oils.
All right. Thank you, Bobby. Hopefully
You're welcome.
that caught everybody up to speed on 3 cool things about oils and 3 ways that we can use them. So now we're going to start talking about these ancient oils and when they're mentioned in scripture as well. And you can, all of you can read the screen, you can read these verses. But I really want to point something out. So this very first verse in Genesis where God says, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and trees on their land, on the land that bear fruit and seed in it, according to their various kinds. And it was so. And you know what? This reminds me of sustainability. And when we talk about doTERRA oils, we talk about sustainability a lot, because when we have found a solution for something that's important to us, and each one of us is made differently, we want to know that we're going to have that solution for a long time into the future. And so I just find it kind of ironic that God was the first one that created sustainability, and then we get that blessing in the end for it. And then that second verse, I really love when it talks about the oil of joy. When Bobby talked about aromatic use, she used that word limbic portion of the brain. You might not be aware, but that's where emotions and memories are stored. And so when we breathe that over that, and that those molecules go over the olfactory part of our system and into that part of our brain, we really elicit a change in our emotions. And so that's really a verse that strikes a chord with me, because we have these beautiful gifts of the earth to help support our emotions as well as our physical well-being. And then I just want you to all to be aware there are more than 500 references to oils in all of scripture. And again, we move on with some more verses. You can read those while I go on. But here's something that's interesting. A shekel. Does anybody have any idea how much a shekel is? Any scholars on here? I didn't know. I had to look it up. So converted into today's measurements, this recipe is asking for 12.68 pounds of liquid myrrh and cassia, 6.34 pounds of cinnamon leaf. That's an awful lot, right? And then 1.72 gallons of olive oil. So a whole lot of plant material goes into making that one. And then I do want to draw your attention when we talk about spikenard. In the scriptures, it'll use the word nard. And we're going to take a deeper dive into this near the end of class, because it might not be talking about spikenard so much as it might be talking about lavender. But I'm going to keep you in suspense a little bit. So on we go, a deep dive into frankincense. So Jules, do you want to say a few things about frankincense?
I would love to. This is, I think,
By the way, I'm putting her on the spot.
you totally put me on the spot. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm muted. Which screen do I unmute? Anyway, I love frankincense. This truly is probably one of my very favorite oils. And we always see those memes come up that are, if you had to be on an island and you could only take one oil with you, what would that be? And for me, it would be frankincense. This truly is the king of oils. And when you're just starting with oils and you don't know what to use, go to frankincense, because when you're in doubt, break frankincense out. Frankincense, he is your very best friend. Frankincense can be used just for so many things, from the skin to cellular health, just and everything in between. It can help when you have sore muscles and that kind of thing. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful oil. And everyone should have frankincense in your natural toolbox, because it just addresses so many things. And frankincense actually can cross, this is kind of a fun fact, frankincense can actually cross the brain barrier, the blood-brain barrier. So when we use that, it can actually positively affect our brain, which is pretty powerful. The cells in our brain and the communication in our brain, all of that. And I just think it's no wonder that those of us who don't know the Bible at all, but it's no wonder that all of us have heard that frankincense was one of the gifts that were brought to the baby Jesus. So it's that potent, it's that powerful, and it's really that wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Jules. I'd like everybody to hop on the chat, and I want you to type what this image reminds you of when you see this image. There's two things it reminds me of, and I'll tell you in a second, but I'd like for you to do that. Frankincense, it comes from a tree. A lot of it comes from Somaliland, I think Oman, Somali, and it is a resin. So that's what that looks like. Now you guys can read through these, but 2,000 years ago, these two oils were used. We're talking about frankincense and myrrh, generally by royal families, because it was so valuable. It was actually considered more valuable than gold. And merchants would travel thousands of miles to trade for frankincense and myrrh resins. So Jules hit on a lot of the reasons that not only was it used in antiquity and years past, but it continues to be used today. The Egyptians liked to say, I think this is interesting, frankincense is good for everything from a broken head to gout. So you might say everything from head to toe. Jules already talked about how it can pass through the blood-brain barrier, which makes it a fantastic oil for head tension, for memory, for recovery from, if you've ever bumped your head, it's a great one to have and to use. Let's see. We covered those couple things. So I do want to talk a little bit about doTERRA. And these are some pictures from Emily Wright is the woman that's on the right. She is one of the owners of doTERRA. And several people, I think, on this call have probably had the opportunity to meet Emily. But they actually go meet with these farmers. It's not about, let's find where we can get these oils and let's get these oils so we can sell them and make a profit. They're all about building relationships and helping community. They have a mantra where they talk about doing the most good for the most people. So you might not be aware of this, but David Sterling is also one of the owners. And when they were talking about sustainability, David having to get an email from a sultan. And I don't know if any of you have gotten one of those spam emails, where you think you're going to get $1 billion because some sultan somewhere has money for you that's unclaimed. Well, he deleted that email. And then a few weeks later, he got another one and he thought, maybe I should check into this. So they went to this very dangerous part of the world and they built relationships so that we can have these beautiful gifts of the earth for us. And this is all done through something that's called co-impact sourcing. And so there's a website I want you to write down, www.source2u.com. And I want you to go there sometime when you have a few minutes and watch some of the sourcing videos and meet some of the farmers, because it's absolutely amazing what we're doing. Farmers are getting paid on time, sometimes within 24 hours. We heard stories at convention this year. Some farmers were waiting 3 years to get paid. Now, I don't know about you, but if I did the work 3 years ago and still hadn't been paid, that would have a tremendous impact on my family's life. So doTERRA is such a high quality. I want you to be aware of that. The second thing you'll find at Source to You, if you look at the bottom of a bottle, if you have one, if you don't, that's okay. But there's a code on the bottom and you can actually see some of the testing. So doTERRA is so transparent. They want you to know what you're putting in you, on you, and around you. And then, Bobby, can you put into the chat the link that I sent you earlier? And it's a sourcing video about frankincense. So I want to encourage everybody to watch that as well. So on to myrrh. Myrrh comes from Somalia. It was used in rituals and embalming. And this is one of the oils that was brought to baby Jesus. And the thought is that frankincense was brought to represent his priesthood. Gold represented his kingship. And myrrh signified that he was born to die. I'll try not to get emotional. Okay. So in case you're wondering what myrrh looks like. By the way, Jules, did anybody type in the chat what they thought frankincense looked like? Myrrh kind of looked like dates to me. What were some of the things?
Lemon drops.
We had some people say that it looked like gold. We had other people say it looked like lemon drop candy. So yeah, people were chiming in. There was a lot of them that said candy, but I did see one gold pop up.
Did anybody think earwax?
Oh God.
Oh. Marlene said ginger or gold.
There you go. Yeah. That's funny. Wax is something that comes up too.
Was that Julie's answer?
Yeah. So myrrh was mentioned 14 times in the Old Testament, 3 times in the New Testament. It's amazing for skin and for rashes. Apply it to a newborn's umbilical cord. It's fantastic for oral hygiene, vocal cords, throats, coughing. If you mix myrrh, make a myrrh tea. So myrrh with some hot water and stir in some honey. It's a great hair conditioner when you mix it with ylang ylang. You can rub it on your abdomen during your menstrual cycle to help support. And then how many people, by a show of hands, have heard of Esther of the Bible? Anybody heard of Esther? Anybody read that book of the Bible? She was a queen, but before she was called before the king, she did a 12-month beauty regimen. And 6 months of it, all women would do this. 6 months of it was using the oil myrrh. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay, cistus. I just think this is a beautiful flower. How about you? Melinda, you're the flower woman. Did you post a picture of a flower that looked like that? That was like, I want to say potatoes, but that's not what it grows. Is there one that's similar?
Okra.
Okra. Yeah. When I saw that, I thought of one of the pictures you posted on Facebook. So it's either cistus or it's okra. Who knows? Okay. So this is a large paper thin rose-like flower. And here's something that's a fun fact. It lasts 1 day. 1 day. And it's not very fragrant. Cistus oil, though, does not come from the flower. It comes from the sticky resinous leaves, the branches, and that's what gives it the almond cherry-like aroma. Now, I've not smelled cistus. I don't know. I don't have this collection that we're going through some of these. Does anybody have cistus and want to share their experience? Diane, you want to talk about it?
So as you're talking about all the oils, I'm actually putting them on. Can I just backtrack for 1 minute and share something briefly about myrrh?
Yes.
Okay, so my mom just passed away less than a month ago. And when I was home, we were all sitting around, and my sister does doTERRA, and so do my one brother does, and the other one has an account. We'll put it that way. But my sister and I scanned, and one of the oils I scanned for was myrrh, and that was the night we lost our mom. So, and just reading about what myrrh, what they used it for, it made sense. So anyway, so cistus. Had to share the Myrrh story though.
That was great.
It's very light. You know, frankincense and myrrh are very heavy. It's almost herbaceous, but very light. Somebody else is commenting. Like an astringent, but a soft one. Anyway.
Thanks, Diane. Cistus is believed to be called the Rose of Sharon in Song of Solomon's or Song of Songs. That's the other word I was going for. And the notes that I found, it provides a rich, sweet, warm aroma. Did you experience that, Diane? Did it feel kind of warm? Tranquil and peaceful environment. It can be soothing to the skin, and you can actually clean your home with it. How interesting.
Julie, when you mentioned warmth, Tracy said reminds her of drops of blood, which to me seems warm. I don't know, Tracy, if you've got any other input on that, but
I think she was talking about the drops of blood on the flower.
Yeah.
oh, gotcha. Well, I'm making a different correlation. Thanks for that, Diane.
So I'm sorry I didn't advance this slide when I continue talking. So I'll give you a second to read through it. That point about the shepherds removing the gum of cistus plant that would get stuck in the coat of the sheep. Where the gum touched their hands, their wounds healed much faster than normal. And that just goes to show you the power of these oils, the power of this plant life to bring hope and health and healing to us. So, okay, we're gonna move on to hyssop. So it's a beautiful purple flower. It's of the mint family. And this was regarded by both the Greeks and the Hebrews as a sacred herb. And it's also mentioned several times throughout the Old Testament. So some additional notes that I have about hyssop. It's often mentioned in relationship to purification and cleansing. For example, in Numbers 19:18, then someone who is ceremonially unclean must take a hyssop branch and dip it into water. And then Leviticus 14:49, it says, and he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds and cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop. So this one must have lots of cleansing powers to it. Galbanam. Now, I had not heard of galbanum until doTERRA put this collection together. It didn't jump out at me in my reading of the scriptures, but in ancient times, it was an anointing oil. And it was often commonly combined with frankincense and used as holy incense. Spiritually, it was used to enhance meditation by the ancient Egyptians. Fun fact, galbanum significantly increases the vibrational frequency of other oils, despite the fact that its own frequency is only 56. When it's combined with other oils like frankincense or sandalwood, the frequency rises dramatically. And Jules, can you talk about frequency? Can you help everybody to understand what that means when it comes to an essential oil?
Yeah, really, it's not just essential oil. When everything has, all of us have a vibrational frequency. There's a quote by Einstein that you'll probably see go around, your Facebook feed every now and then. It's one I share actually pretty often. But we are all about energy. Everything is about energy. And that energy has, in quantum physics, that's measurable. So everything has that, from a plant to us, to our dogs, to a rock, to, anything. So the essential oils also have a vibrational energy that is specific to them. And everything, we all vibrate at a different currency, if you will, at a different level. And so that's when we talk about galbanum, putting it with another oil and it increasing that vibrational energy. It just basically is increasing all the benefits of whatever you pair it with, even though it has a low vibrational or lower vibrational energy. Does that help?
Yeah, that was great, Jules. So here's some notes about it. I had to look up who this person was. So does anybody know who Pliny is? Because when I come to a word that I don't know, we all learned back at grade school, right? Look it up. So, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I said Pliny. He's a Roman author, a naturalist, a natural philosopher, and he was a commander in both the Navy and the Army of the early Roman Empire. He lived from AD 23 to AD 79. So there you go. All right, we have another one on Galbanam. Modern uses for this one supports the immune, digestive, respiratory, circulatory, and other body systems. So what I want you to know, we didn't talk about this when we talked about the 3 cool things about essential oils, but an essential oil sometimes has 200 plus different chemical constituents in it. And so that means it can do a multitude of things for us, that one oil. So for example, tea tree. You can use tea tree when you have acne. You can use tea tree for oral health. You can use tea tree when you have toe fungus. It can do a myriad of things. With a pharmaceutical, they often isolate one constituent and then they mass produce it to put it on the market for us. And that's why we end up with medicine cabinets full of different products. But when we have these essential oils, they can do a myriad of things. So that's pretty cool about Galbanam and all the things that it can do for us. It's also an aid for troubled and mature skin. How many of us are mature? I'm entering that mature phase of life. It has an earthy aroma, and it is called a sacrificial fragrance that allows for the shedding of old ideas and attitudes. So if you're stuck on something, you might want to add this one into your repertoire for supporting your emotions and letting go of those old attitudes. Its odor helps in seeing the path ahead. It's grounding, and yet it leads to surrendering to God. So that's Galbanam. Go ahead.
Just for a second, Julie, I kind of want to build on just for a minute what you just said about, all the different chemical constituents and all the different way oils can help us, or different ways that oils can help us and support us. When you think about Galbanam, let's look at that. I mean, we're talking wound healing and scars, skin health, boils, abscesses, muscle cramps, spasms, circulatory health, respiratory health. How many things can you think of that you have? And this question goes to everyone, so chime in the chat. How many things do you all have in your medicine cabinet that are something over the counter that will deal with that many things and support you in so many ways, and yet be safe enough that you could not worry about your kids using them? How many do you have? It's just a really great way to make yourself stop and realize that sometimes we grab an oil and we use it for one thing and we think, well, that didn't work, and then we put it back and we don't think about all the other things that it might be able to do for us. So just want you to kind of think about that and just chime in that, and let us know how many you have, how many things other than essential oils do you have that have this kind of versatility?
Yeah, thanks, Jules.
And I just want to say chiming in gets you a ticket to a door prize.
All right. Does everybody have something to drink? We didn't suggest that people come with beverages. I'm drinking cinnamon tea. Jules, you have something in your water?
Well, communication.
Yeah. Okay, we're moving on to common myrtle. And this one is just happy. That whole picture is just happy to me. But ancient uses. So myrtle occupies prominent place in the writings of Hippocrates, Pliny, that Roman guy we just talked about. And I can't say the next guy's name, Galen, and the Arabian writers. It has been prescribed for fever and pain by ancient physicians since at least 2,500 years before Christ. Myrtle's effects are due to high levels of salicylic acid. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the component that's found in aspirin. Thumb up. Is that correct? Well, heck, it's in the next part of my sentence. A compound related to aspirin and the basis of modern classes of drugs known as NSAIDs. And I know we have at least one nurse on the call tonight. I know that those are really hard on the body in current times. So let's see. So remember how we learned that when used as an oil, it contains all the complexity it was designed to have because it's from nature and the body knows what to do with it without side effects of the synthetic versions. So we're going to go on so you can see some things about common myrtle. In Isaiah 55:13, the verse says, instead of the thorn shall come up the cypress, instead of the briar shall come up the myrtle, and it shall make a name for the Lord, an everlasting sign that shall not be cut off. So common myrtle. All right, so those were 6 oils that come in an ancient collection, and we're going to get to those in a second. But I do want to take a peek at some of these additional oils, and we're going to focus in on a couple in specific. But if you need to, oops, I'm going here. If you need to or want to, you can take a screenshot of this page just to help remind you what each of these do. The list of things that they do are really I'm sure were used this way through the years, but they're actually used this way currently. So we're going to take a deeper dive into Spikenard and Cypress, and hopefully I can do this justice. So when we read the word nard in scripture, we oftentimes automatically assume that it is spikenard, but some experts have suggested that nard is actually lavender. And here's the reasons why. First of all, the Greeks called nard lavender. Nard came from the region of Narda in Greece, and they called the lavender herb nard for that reason. Secondly, the New Testament was written in Greek. So that kind of stands to reason. And then the other piece of evidence is that when the text says that Mary poured this oil on Jesus's feet, have any of you smelled spikenard before? Okay,
It's like
so
stinky feet.
yeah, so the people who have smelled it, would you call it a perfume?
No.
So it tells us that this was like a perfume, and I'm pretty sure I would have been plugging my nose. It is so potent. I have a recipe blend that calls for 1 drop of spikenard and 15 drops of wild orange, and it can't mask the smell of spikenard. So it's just really stinky. So we don't know for sure whether it is lavender or whether it is actually spikenard, but lavender is a much more pleasing aroma. So before we consider the prophetic aspects of nard, we'll talk about when Mary applied it. So Mary then took a pound of very costly perfume of pure nard and anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of perfume. Again, I can't imagine the fragrance of spikenard being very pleasant. Hold on before we go there. So in biblical times, nard was not only a very expensive perfume, but it was also a precious ointment that was used as medicine. It's interesting that Mary chose to wipe Jesus's feet with her hair. And we might wonder, like when I use my essential oils, I'll roll them on my hand, and I love the wintertime because I wear scarves. So I'll wipe the excess on my scarf, or I go like this into my hair when my hair is longer, and then I get to be my own personal diffuser. So I get the benefit of that oil. And so sometimes I wonder, did Mary do this so that she would have the benefit of that oil, even though it was an act of worship? Also, in this act of worship, could it be that she was preparing Jesus for his death on the cross that was to come 1 week later? So here are some of the properties of nard, and that might give us some clues to this. It stops bleeding on contact. It helps bruising, cuts, and lacerations. It's calming to the nervous system. It's an anti-anxiety oil. And we know that Jesus suffered a lot of anxiety when we read in Luke 22:44, immediately prior to his betrayal by Judas, the scriptures say, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. It's also sedative and was able to lower blood pressure by dilating the arteries. So is it possible that God the Father through Mary was anointing his son and preparing Jesus for his death on the cross for our sins? We don't know this for sure, but we can see how this could have been a benefit both emotionally to Jesus and physically to Jesus for what was coming in his future. So whether or not it was spikenard or lavender, we can see that nard was used by God for his glory. All right, we're going to move on to Cypress. And this one gets really exciting. This again is things that I learned from Rachel Carter. So Cypress is celebrated in scripture as a symbol of strength, security, and prosperity. It is the oil of motion and flow and creates powerful movement. Cypress can teach the soul how to let go of the past and move forward with the flow of life. This oil is specifically helpful for individuals who are mentally and emotionally stuck, rigid, or have a perfectionist tendency, and they feel the need to control. Any control freaks out there? None? Oh, I see one. I see one. Come on. There's more than one. Haley, I see you waving. So this oil helps you to be adaptable and flexible. But we're going to take even a deeper dive into this specific verse from Genesis 6:14. So God is saying to Noah, so make yourself an ark of cypress, and you are to pitch it inside and out with pitch. The first time that pitch is used, it's used as a verb, meaning Noah was supposed to paint it inside and out. And then that second time that pitch is used, pitch is a noun or tar-like substance. So in other words, you're going to tar this inside and out. You're going to cover the inside of this boat and the outside of this boat with tar. And we know how sticky tar is, right? Well, there's a little bit more depth I want to go into. So the Bible was not written in English. It was written in Greek and Hebrew and Aramaic. And so we're going to look at the original meanings of these words. So cypress meant carpenter. So that's who would use cypress, would be a carpenter. It also means tree, because it's a tree, right? Cypress tree. And then it also was a gallows. And so that's interesting. It was an instrument of torture. So could this be foreshadowing all the way from the Old Testament what Jesus was going to do in the New? So pitch as a verb meant atonement because it's covering the ark. It's going to protect those 8 people that got onto the ark. It also means forgiveness and cleansing. And so that's when it's used as a verb. When it's used as a noun, it means redemption, ransom, and satisfaction. So if we put this all together, these 8 people that went into the ark. So when the fall of man happened and God flooded the earth, he tells Noah to build this ark. And Noah and his wife and his 3 sons and their wives, and then all of the animals, we all know that song, the 2x2, right? They got onto the boat, and God shut the boat or the ark, and they trusted in God, and they trusted in the ark, and they were saved. So in the same way, there was a carpenter who hung on a tree, an instrument of torture, and through that, he provides atonement, cleansing, and forgiveness to the redemption, ransom, and satisfaction of the Father. And so those who trust in him will be saved as well. So it's such a beautiful
If
picture.
you want any of the muffins too, I just put a note up there. There's those
Somebody's not muted.
blueberry and cinnamon. Okay, thank you. But like John said,
Can
just make sure
somebody
you
figure out who's
put a note on it. If
not
you
muted?
microwave it, take the wrapper off.
Let's see. Did we get muted? maybe. Okay. It's a beautiful picture that points to the cross. The oil in Genesis 6:14 and the wood, cypress, is pointing to Jesus. But it doesn't stop there, because we want to think about how was cypress used in the Old Testament for blood flow. It's a circulation oil. It's actually the number one oil for circulation. Varicose veins, what's that? Blood. It moves blood and it helps with oxygen. It increases the white corpuscle production, white blood cells. It's all about the blood. So I don't know about you, but I don't really think that's coincidental if you're a student of God's word and the prophetic part of God's word, from the Old Testament pointing to the New Testament. Something else that's interesting is the Latin word for Mediterranean cypress means live forever. And so it's really clear to me that this oil is one that really points to Jesus. And there's scripture that talks about even the rocks will cry out. And so maybe in this instance, it's not just the rocks, but it's the plants themselves. So we're going to keep going on. If you are interested in learning more about the healing oils of the Bible, take a screenshot of this. I'm not familiar with David Stewart, but I think it would be a great resource if this is something that's of interest to you. Everybody get it if they wanted it? All right. So the very first 6 oils that we covered, these were the ancient oils of the Bible. And you can get these from doTERRA. If somebody invited you, if that's something that you want, and somebody invited you to class and you don't already have a membership, chat with them and they can help you get these to bring them into your home. We saw how they were used through antiquity and then how they can be used today. And I am going to turn this over to Jules, and she's going to wrap out our night.
Julie, thank you so much. Everybody give Julie one of these in the chat. She did such a great job. I just learned Cypress is one of my very favorite oils, Julie, and I just learned so much from you. And I loved the way you interpreted and gave us the history of what they may be saying in the Bible and what that means and how that all ties together. So thank you so much for that. I absolutely loved it. Nicely done. Hats off to you. And so, yeah, moving on, so we don't take a ton more of your time tonight. Look at this slide right here, and it says top health concerns. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this to all of you right now before we go, because I want you to stop for a minute and think about this. So when we're talking, when I talk about this slide and you see top health concerns and you see 1, 2, and 3, I want you to just sit with that for a minute and really think about, be really intentional and present and think about what kind of things do you deal with on an everyday basis? And it may be something really big that you want to know more about, a health concern that you have or someone in your family has that you want to know more about how to maybe support your body naturally with or support their body naturally with. Or it could be something really, really small that you have dealt with for so long right now that you don't even really think about it. And a good example of that is people who end up with chronic sinus stuff. And you've just had chronic sinus stuff for so long that you don't really think about it. But every now and then you think, oh, I'm so tired of my nose just always being stuffy. Those are the kind of things I want you just to take a minute, be really, like I said, really kind of introspective, think about it, sit with it, and think about those top 3 things that maybe you could use a little more support with. And I want you to write those down. And if you don't already have your doTERRA account, I want you, and you're somebody who just came tonight and was invited to this class, and you just wanted to learn more, and now your interest is piqued about these essential oils, I really want you to take the time to think about those top 3 things that you might need a little bit more support with. And then get a hold of that person who invited you to this class and ask them to help you come up with some natural solutions. And just like we talked about on the, I think it was the Galbanam slide, I said all the different things that, one oil, all the different ways one oil can support you. When you're looking at these and you have those top 3 things and you're working with someone who's helping you put that together, if you try one oil and it doesn't work, go back to that person and say, give me another option, because there are so many oils and so many ways that those oils can support us, that I want you just to continue to try different things. And to kind of put a perspective on that as well, I want to talk about, when an oil doesn't work for you, don't think that all oils don't work. If a doTERRA oil doesn't support you like you think it would, I want you to remember that all pharmaceuticals that you take might not work for you. For instance, I'm allergic to penicillin. I can't take it, but it might work great for Julie. It might work great for Bobby if they have to have it. If their body just has to have that, it might work great for them. But if you give it to me, it's going to kill me. But essential oils, you don't have to worry about that. But if one doesn't work, try. So think about toxic health concerns and really reach out to whoever invited you here and work with them and see if you can put a plan together to find a way to support your body naturally, because these don't come with side effects. It's like Bobby said, they're safe, they're effective, and they're affordable. And there's going to be, I promise, there's going to be something there that can support you through that journey that you're having or that health issue that you're having. So take a minute and think about that and write those down, and then reach out to whoever invited you here and start a dialogue about it. I think next slide, Julie. Okay, so when we talk about these, or when we have these classes, we love to have you guys all, we love it that you guys, most of you that come to these have your oils already, or maybe you have a few oils, but you don't have a wholesale account yet. We want you to know that there are ways that you can get these, and you can get them into your home. You can get them by paying retail, which, if you ask me, is silly, because why pay retail when you can pay wholesale anywhere? Just doesn't make sense to me. For me, as a single mom, most of my life was spent, there was always more month than there was money. So I was always looking for that way to get something that I needed for less money. So you can buy retail, or you can get a wholesale account, which is really affordable. It's $35. And if you buy a starter kit with the top 10 oils, which is an excellent way to start, that $35 is waived. So you get a huge discount just by doing that. And then if you kind of take it to that next level and really learn how to maximize your account, and you really start to learn how to use the oils and use the other doTERRA products and the supplements, then you can have that wholesale account and you start to earn points where you can get more free products. So with a wholesale account, you save 25% right off the top. And then as you learn to really use your account effectively and use your oils effectively, you can earn up to 30% back of every single order that you place in points or in like dollar credits that go to your account. So it's just a way to maximize your pocketbook and maximize your health.
Thank you, Jules.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for doing it for us, Julie. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure. Hey, we want to have a time for Q&A, but we also are going to do a drawing. And I'm not really sure how that's working, because Jules, Bobby, and I didn't really formulate a method on how this is going to work. And, unfortunately, we can't like huddle over here and go to figure it out. So, Jules, did you have a plan?
Of a plan, because we had kind of a couple of things going, and you guys we're going to be better at this as we continue to do these, I promise you. So stick with this. What I did do, Julie, was in the event page where we had people commenting on things, I did put everybody who got a ticket in there is on a wheel. So we can do a drawing for a blend there, and we could send them a blend on that. And then we can go into the chat. I know Bobby said everybody who comments here in the chat. So if we can go back in the chat really quick, and just kind of even do a jot down of names, then I won't do it here tonight on the wheel, but I'll spin the wheel and I'll make sure that we get a little something to I have a really cool Oils of the Bible make and take that I'm going to send to that person. So, and what I'll do is I'll get your address. Once I get your name on the wheel, I'll get your address and we'll make sure that then I can get it mailed out to you. So it's a really cool little fun make and take that's using the oils of the Bible.
Okay, so Jules, let me ask a question. Can I just read through the names and you make sure that everybody's on the wheel?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Go.
Connie Anderson,
Okay.
Susan Nelson,
Okay.
Eric Peterson, Nancy, and
Yep.
actually she's on here as Toshiba. Marlene Marshall, Margin Riviera, Melinda Frankfurter. Am I going too fast?
I'm keeping up with you so far.
Tracy Allgood, Ani. There's a Claire, Clayre,
That's my sister.
and Joy M. Majewski,
That's she's on my team.
Nancy Cannon Swindle,
Hey, Nancy.
Colleen, Ellen, Alicia Anderson, B. Apodaca. I hope I didn't slaughter that. Diane Mattern. I've got a Candace, Zoom user. I have no clue who that is. Tammy Clack, Bonnie Dunkelberger,
Okay.
Sarah Collins,
Okay.
Pam Westbrook,
Okay.
Lisa Moss,
Okay.
Rhonda, don't know last name, iPad, don't know who it is. Did anybody still on? We've got 27 on. I know at one time we had 34. Is anybody on? Did I miss your name?
Betty Rodriguez.
Betty
Hey, Betty.
Rodriguez.
Okay. So here's the thing too, you guys.
It's Rhonda Keefe.
Rhonda Key. Okay.
Did all of you use the chat, put your names in there and put your email address in there? If you didn't do that already, if you'll do that, if you filled out the registration form, then we have that contact information. And so when Jules draws your name, because she's going to draw your name, when she draws your name, then she'll be able to get in touch with you.
Yeah. So everybody just chat your email in. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. If you could put your email here. And then also for those of you who I did a live, it seemed like in every group I could think of today, asking you to make sure to fill out that Google form by scanning that QR code that was on the flyer that we put out and that we shared.
I'll find the link to that and I will send it. Yeah,
that Google form will make all of this much easier for everybody who is here, because if you fill that Google form out and send it, it has your email address on it, and then we see it, and then I'll know who to get a hold of. You know, whenever I get all of these on the wheel and we spin the wheel for the grand prize, then I know the email address that I can reach you at. So if you guys could do that, make sure you filled out that Google form. I know we had a bunch of you go in today after I did the lives. We had several of you go in and fill that out. So just those of you who haven't, please do. That will make this a ton easier as well. But if you can throw your emails in the chat, that'll be helpful too. Google form will just make it super easy.
So Julie just posted the Google form. And a lot of people are putting their emails in. So this is being recorded. So that means, Julie, you've got a copy of the chat, correct? And so I don't know if we want to stop recording or not, but we want to pick 2 or 3 prizes while everybody's on? And then Jules, you can tabulate the counts of chats and I'll record everything. And then you can do the grand prize drawing and do a live video with the winner.
Sure, and then everybody doesn't have to stay on here to
Yeah.
Yep.
And I do want to give about 5 minutes for Q&A. So do the drawing so that if people want to leave, they can leave and they don't feel like they're caught. And then if you want to stay on for the Q&A, we'll end with that.
Okay, so This
It
drawing,
looks like Haley's got a gift in front of her.
okay. This drawing, I'm going to do a drawing right now, and this one is for those who were in the event page and who commented when we asked them to comment. Okay, so this is separate from here tonight. This is those who went to the event page though and actually played along with this. And so here's my wheel. Everybody can see it, and I'm going to do a little spin.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't it cool?
And the winner is
Bonnie Dunkelberger.
Bonnie. Congratulations.
So Bonnie, did you fill out the Google form?
And Julie's got her address.
Okay.
I think I did.
Jules,
Okay.
Bonnie is also a massage therapist.
Yes.
Oh, hey. That's great to know.
Mhm.
Are you still,
What'd you say?
are you still practicing?
Yeah, I actually work for a hospice
Oh, nice.
and I
Yeah.
see patients. Yep.
You. Good for you. Okay, so yeah, you're the winner of, we'll send you an Oils of the Bible blend. And
Awesome.
yep. And I'm not going to do the other drawings right now just because we have too many names to enter onto this wheel. But we'll go into Q&A. I'll get everybody else's names entered into the wheel, and then there will be a whole make and take that gets sent to a winner. And we have a couple other things that will for comments, that kind of thing. We'll add that in there in the chat. And so I will do an announcement of the other winners tomorrow. How's that? In
Perfect.
good vibe.
Sounds great.
Yep.
So Q&A, who's got questions?
I like it. We must have been really thorough.
I know. Crazy.
Mhm.
And I'm just curious how many people on tonight are doTERRA involved and how many people are not. And I don't know how to know that. Do we raise our hands, or are there any guests on? I'm sure there's some.
They can do the chat.
Well, okay. So yeah. Okay. So a few are chatting. So
Does
Julie, I
anybody
don't know if
have-
there's any questions.
Does anybody have a testimony they'd like to share about one of the oils that we talked about today?
I'll share one.
Good.
Because, and I'm not going to go into the whole long story, but I will definitely share. My guy, James, has been dealing with some blood clots and some pretty scary ones. And he's in a lot of pain whenever he gets up and moves. He's not supposed to move hardly at all, other than to really get up and go to the bathroom kind of thing, or go to bed. So he's been spending most of his time with his leg elevated as per doctor's orders. But one of the things that has brought him the most relief is an Epsom salts bath with Cypress and Aroma Touch in it. And I've just been making up like 4 cups of Epsom salts, and I put in some fractionated coconut oil in there. And then I put my essential oils right inside of that coconut oil, mix it up, let it absorb into those salts while the tub is filling. And then we fill that tub, and he gets in that tub, and he says it's just one of the things that just helps him get away from the constant pain that he has in his leg. So I thought I would share that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're glad that he's home with you. Instead of in that hospital anymore.
Yeah.
Hi, Julie. This is Candace Wines from Ruby Valley. And I have a testimony about Cyprus. Cyprus described me to a T, by the way. The controlling, kind of that person who type A, that's what I call it. But I use Cyprus every night before I go to bed, and it's for circulation in my case. And I have a roller bottle that I made, and I roll it over my heart. And then you guys probably can't see it, but I roll it up my arms and then kind of massage it towards my heart, because my hands fall asleep all the time at night, and it wakes me up and it drives me crazy. So by using Cypress and by doing that, my circulation is improved and I don't have the falling asleep hand things anymore.
So Candace, Julie and I were on a class an hour ago, and one of the gals, I don't know if she's still on or not, but was having tingling of her fingers. And I'm thinking that Cypress might assist with that, possibly. We didn't mention that, Julie, when we were on earlier. Do you think? She doesn't know what causes it.
Yeah, it could help. And I know that, I've just seen different things. And in fact, it was interesting. Somebody shared the video in Good Vibes about I don't know how you say it, Jules, you can probably say it, the holiday deal where they have the stone that you use to massage.
The guava stone and lymphatic system.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of key to using the Cypress too, is because, you do pull it towards your heart. And I think it just gets your blood flowing. So, that's how I've used it, and it really seems to help me. So that's my testimonial.
Thanks, Candace. That's great. Appreciate it. I learned something. I'm going to make one of those rollers because I have that thing happen sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Hey, before we close, I do want to introduce Haley Bamasberger. She doesn't know that I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So you may have heard us mentioning Good Vibes. And I'm not sure if everybody that's still on the call is already a part of our family, but I do want to give a shout out to Haley for her leadership, for her generosity, for her kind heart, for her willingness to step into uncomfortable roles and situations, just like we all have to do that sometimes. She's doing that as well. And I think all of us who are part of your family, Haley, are really grateful that you said yes to doTERRA, because if you hadn't said yes to doTERRA, none of us would probably know about these beautiful gifts of the earth. So I want to say thank you to you. And if you want to close us out tonight, go for it.
Wait, Haley has to hold on 1 minute. Just because you guys earlier, they were questioning about energy. And I love how Jules explained that, but there are a few people here, and I know I've come across people who say, we're always going to get the question on, well, those are your little snake oils or something. And I had a pastor of a church that I used to go to, and we were talking one time because he was told, because I had stopped attending church, that maybe I had fallen into the oil thing. And when you were talking about energy, something that he described to me, and he had said he believes, the power of our essential oils. And I've had some family members and things like that kind of say, oh, the skeptics. But so I love this class so that I can refer things to biblical times. But when we talk about everything being energy, he had told me, he said he remembers the most energy when he feels the Holy Spirit. And he goes, when you see people crying in church and they're feeling the energy of the Holy Spirit in them, that's how he explained it to me. He said, when you were in there in church and you cry at that sermon, that is still energy. Something's hitting us and it's connecting to us. It's resonating with us like smell, like our oils. It's a memory. It's a good feeling. So I know that I have a sister that we discuss this all the time. And she always talks about, well, I was, baptized by the Holy Spirit. It's this feeling, it's this overwhelming feeling of, uncontrollable different emotions. And these oils have that ability for us to relive and change, just like we talk about being when we're baptized, or we get a new slate. Every morning when we wake up, it's a new slate. We get to make that picture. So that energy, you guys, is that good feeling, that aha good feeling of I'm loved, or when you feel those good things. And we do talk about bad energy. We don't have to allow any kind of negative energy or vibes from other people, past experiences. And these oils help us energetically, synergetically, emotionally, and physically for a reason. They were put here to benefit our bodies inside and out, physically and emotionally. And when you believe in that higher power, be that God, universe, the spirit, we've all had experiences when that energy has went through our bodies and we feel energy. I mean, it's just an undescribable thing. And that's why we teach people also about these oils, because once they have an experience, whether it's on an emotional level or, that sore ear or something, it is it is releasing that bad stuff and allowing our body to do energetically the flow that is supposed to be happening in our body that was given to us from our creator. So, I mean, I don't know if that helps, if it makes sense, but it did make sense when it was taught to me, told to me, a way to describe it where it wasn't scary, if you will. That's
So,
it.
so good, Tammy. You guys, so I'm sitting here and I'm going, I'm not getting emotional. I'm not getting emotional. And it's such an amazing, wonderful thing that just the thought that I have something in front of me. I've got the oils out from the ancient times and I'm sitting here smelling them and I'm just thinking, just the ability to have them in our hands and have access to collection. It's so historically awesome. And I just want to say thank you, first of all, to Jules, Julie, and Bobby for putting this together, to opening up a space and a mindset and the information that we don't have access to. And you guys, all of the ancient oils are available starting November 1st. And I highly recommend you look at them, go into Good Vibes, search each one by name. We've done lots of research. There's an ebook on it, but you can find exactly which one is best for you. And I can tell you that just opening up the bottle, so Common Myrtle is the one I'm going to pick on. I open it up and I smell it. And it's got the most amazing aroma. I mean, something that is so powerful beyond any kind of description. And, you take some of the oils that we have that we're used to, I'm going to bay leaf, laurel leaf, tea tree, and some of those, and these knock it out of the world. And, just the fact that, God and whatever our beliefs are, is that we have these at our fingertips, which is amazing. The energy and the vibration of these, we have classes that we talk about, music and vibration and how every single time we smell an essential oil, it physically and emotionally and spiritually can send us messages and help get us back into a space of calm and free and peace and love and light. And it's amazing. So you guys, we are, frankincense and myrrh. I mean, back to those two oils that, Christmas story, and how we can use these on a regular basis. You guys, it's amazing. I'm so grateful, so incredibly grateful for every single one of you guys, and for the way that you guys shine as leaders, the way that you step into sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. And even when, like Tammy said, people are like, oh, they're snake oils, it's weird. And being able to trust and believe that there's something way bigger than anything else that we could have our hands on right now. And if there's ever a time, this is the time to use our voices, to use our expertise, to empower people with knowledge and wisdom, and be able to stand up in a crowd and say, wait, I've got a solution, instead of, joining everybody and going, oh yeah, you're right, it's awful. It's like, no, we have other things that we can turn to that can empower us and help us to be stronger as people, as leaders, as people in our community, as parents, as, patriarchs, all of the things. And so, gosh, you guys, it's amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. And again, thank you for your questions. Your questions are valuable because when you ask a question, other people learn, and we get the opportunity to learn and teach. Without each one of you guys, none of us would be here. So I just want to say thanks. And we are giving, like, we're giving away one of these kits to, or one of each of these oils to somebody. So I hope that you enjoy it. And like I said, go into Good Vibes and look up each one of the oils and find out what their benefits are so that you actually know how to use it and how to benefit. I'm just going to share something really quick. So we have a lot of different things in our family, and this would be my testimonial, is that I've had a son who has struggled with drug addiction for a very long time. And he's gone in and out, and his longest period was 8 years clean and sober. And then he whatever you want to say, he slipped or fell. And when he was home a year ago, well, over a year ago now at Christmas, I took the essential oil, the biblical oils, because I had them, and each one of my kids I went through and I did muscle testing and made a specific roller bottle blend for each one of them that they were able to put across their heart or put under their nose and just be able to smell it. That would help them specifically for what their needs were. I didn't ask the questions. I just muscle tested, made the roller bottles, and he's now been a year sober and clean again, which is so amazing. And I believe that it takes something much stronger than just the prayer or the knowing or the desire. Addiction is tough. And, whether people live with addiction, suffer from addiction, it is real. And, going back to what we're faced with today is there's a lot of people who are struggling with mental wellness. And these are the powerhouses. And I do believe that they will make the difference for people. And we just need to be able to get them in the hands. All right, that's it, you guys. Thanks, everybody. And let us know how we can love and support you. We are always here for you.
Thanks, Haley. Thanks so much. That's something else too, you guys, that I want to mention about that Google form. If you will scan that QR code and go in there, there's a question on there that other classes that you would like to see, or, things that you would like to learn about, because there are a handful of us that love to teach. And so we always have a continuing education class on Tuesday nights. We have 8 classes that we teach just in a rotation. You can always jump into that. And then we always love to do classes like this. So if there's something specific that you would like to do, and you just even have a small group you would like to do this with, please reach out to one of us and we will, we'll do that for you. Fill out that Google form and put the classes that you're looking for. And then we'll have your email address and we'll know the classes that you're looking for. So it's a way for us to continue to share the knowledge that we have and to share the healing potential that these oils bring to you and your family and your friends. So yeah, fill that out so that we know. And thanks for joining, everybody. Really, thank you so much for giving up an hour or two. I don't even know how long we've been on. I was going to watch the clock and I haven't. Thanks, David.